Speaking of memes, Lucasfilm is kind of a meme at this point in time because they are facing a lawsuit, ladies and gentlemen. Lucasfilm sued for recreating Grand Moff Tarkin actor Peter Cushing's image in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. This is a weird story, dude. Have you heard about this?
Yes.
I personally do not think that. Listen, man, I'm all for clowning on Lucasfilm as much as possible. I don't think that this story holds any weight whatsoever. All right, none. If you actually read the details of it. But I'm glad Lucasfilm is catching hell. But if you actually read the details of it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I was under the impression when Rogue One came out, his family gave them permission to do the CGI.
That's the whole thing. So that's why it's complicated. So so Lucasfilm is being sued over its recreation of Grand Moff Tarkin's Peter Cushing's image in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. As reported by the Times, a friend of Cushing has alleged Disney did not have permission to recreate the actor's image with special effects for Rogue One. Disney tried and failed to have the case dismissed for a second time on September 9th, 2024. The plaintiff is suing Lucasfilm through its film company, Tyburn Film Productions, and also claims against Rogue One producer Atlantic Heavy Industries, the late executor of Cushing's estate, and Cushing's agency, Associated Internal Management. Francis claims that he must give authorization for any recreation of Cushing's image following an agreement made with him and the actor in 1993, 1 year before his death at the age of 81. Lucasfilm claims it didn't think it needed permission to recreate Cushing's image due to his original contract for Star Wars and the nature of the special effects. It also paid around $37,000 to Cushing's estate after being contacted by his agent about the recreation. So they had gotten permission and cleared it through his estate, but you have this other person claiming that him and Cushing had an agreement made the year before he died. This is fucking weird.
Yeah, this is bizarre.
Now, again, I'm all for clowning on Lucasfilm and piling on Lucasfilm because, well, simply put, fuck Lucasfilm. But this just doesn't seem like there's a lot here. If you have an agreement, like, well, first of all, why does this guy have, if you have an agreement that was made the year before he died, why doesn't the estate know about that?
Correct.
The estate, you would think, would know about this. And if there was a legal binding contract between him and Peter Cushing made in 93, then the estate would have to have knowledge of that and need knowledge of that, because when Lucasfilm approached them about this, they would have had the information. The fact that the estate didn't have the information, and the fact that gave the approval, and then apparently here we are now. When did Rogue One come out? In 2000? It
was the year after Force Awakens.
2016.
Yeah, no, 2016 maybe.
All this time now has passed, and you're bringing up a weird lawsuit. Now the judge, I think the judge said that he didn't think that there was a strong case here, but that he guesses there was enough for it to continue on. But I think this thing is going to fail miserably, and it just doesn't make any sense to me based on the information that we have right now. But the story's been out there about Lucasfilm being sued, and when I heard about it, I was like, oh man, Lucasfilm's getting sued again, let's go. And then I looked into it and I'm like, this doesn't, from Lucasfilm's perspective, based on the information we have, it seems like they did everything they were supposed to do from a legal perspective. And now you have this guy coming out of nowhere saying like, oh, I made an agreement with Peter Cushing in 1993 for his likeness and I didn't get approval, so I'm going to sue you. What? All this time later? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, so that's the latest on it. That's all we really have now. So if more information becomes available, but I know everybody was running with the headline because Lucasfilm's being sued, and I got excited too when I heard about it. Obviously, you got the Gina Carano situation out there, and they've been taking L after L after L. I don't think that this is going to be an L for Lucasfilm. In fact, and again, I'm not an attorney, so I don't really know, but I wonder if they could countersue this guy after they prove that he's full of shit, if in fact he is. And I guess we'll find that out with this going to trial. And it looks like Lucasfilm's not interested in making a payment or anything like that to the guy. And it feels like they feel that they have a strong leg to stand on, which based on the information we have, that's what it seems like. But I will say that it is creepy that they did use him in Rogue One after he had died in 94. It was kind of creepy that they even decided to use him from that perspective.
Right. Yeah. There's one thing with using Carrie Fisher, and she had already been in the 2 previous movies and the sequels with episodes 7 and 8, and then using reused footage and some CGI, CGI scenes. And then also Carrie Fisher was CGI'd in Rogue One, but she was still alive at that time. It is a little creepy. It's a little weird, but I think we're going to be seeing more and more of this. We're going to see more and more of actors being resurrected via CGI and de-aging abilities, like with James Earl Jones passing away. We're going to get a somewhat AI automated version of Darth Vader for as long as they have Darth Vader in Star Wars entertainment.
Yeah, it's definitely not a trend that I want to see continue. I think it's a terrible trend, and it's I don't want to see this continue, but I think that we're probably going to see this moving forward, which is not a good thing. I mean, AI in general is it's advancing to an alarming rate. So I kind of feel like we're going to see a lot more of this moving forward, and I really don't want to see it. And really, I guess it's going to come down to again, I'm just speculating here, but like, let's say you have an actor, Clint Eastwood, Clint Eastwood or somebody like that. Okay. So if Clint Eastwood makes an agreement for his family and his estate to say, like, you can sign over likeness to me for future films to help continue to make money for his family. I mean, that's obviously probably something that a lot of actors are going to do as we advance into this. So I could totally see that happening. And then you're going to have the family that's going to be like putting these guys in a lot of weird stuff, probably. That would be strange, man. I don't like this idea at all, but I think that it's the unfortunate reality of where we're moving into. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
It's very weird, especially if you're creating new movies and new TV shows, and then you put a dead person and you're going to CGI a deceased actor's face onto another person who's doing mocap. But it's like, it's another thing. I forget what movie it was for. They did this with Philip Seymour Hoffman. Was it Hunger Games? Philip Seymour Hoffman died during the filming, and they had a stand-in with the dots all over his face with the mocap, and they CGI'd Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Was that like I only saw the first Hunger Games, and I don't really remember it.
I think it was Hunger Games. They did that with Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's one thing. If they died during filming, or like with Carrie Fisher, they needed to finish the trilogy that they were working on, and the family gave them their blessing. For Disney to just use Tarkin and to use Peter Cushing's likeness to play Tarkin again, I mean, it makes sense in the storytelling. It makes absolute sense that he would be there. And
somebody just said it, like Paul Walker in the Fast and Furious, you know, and they did that one. You know what I mean?
If there's a tragic sudden death during the filming, Brandon Lee, yes, Brandon Lee is another one for The Crow. But several years after the fact, over 20 years, and they're going to put Peter Cushing in Rogue One. It's a little weird, but listen, if they have the rights to it, if Disney felt like they had the rights to it and they got the family's blessing for it, I mean, what are you going to do? What we need to see is some documentation. We need to see the contract.
Yeah, absolutely. And until then, I guess we're just going to have to be in the waiting game on this. But yeah, the whole story, like on the premise, if you heard about it, you were probably like me. If you're sick and tired of Disney's bullshit, you're probably like, oh man, Disney getting sued again. And then I looked into it and I'm like, man, based on the information we have, that seems like a slam dunk for Disney and Lucasfilm to crush this guy based on the information we have. So that's the latest right there.